Hello everyone, it's Isabella from OeDiamond. Today I will discuss what is Kundalini and what are the symptoms, the signs of awakened Kundalini or awakening Kundalini. So in the simple words, Kundalini is a life force energy, and it is believed that people who are not awakened yet, therefore their consciousness is not awakened yet, the life force energy is trapped in a base at the base of the spine, and for those who the energy starts awakening, it is said that the energy spin upwards and is activating each of the chakras, which I mentioned about before, and I keep talking about them all the time. So many people believe that awakening is a process of coming back to the nirvana, to that state, to the certain extent, of course, because this is just the certain point, so it's not fully that. However, Kundalini awakening can be very hard period in life, and can be very strange experience, and it can be very wrecking because when the Kundalini awakes and activates all chakras, then where the purification process starts. So if we've been suppressing and holding on so many feelings, emotions, problems, stresses, traumas from the life and from the past lives, then this purification and this awakening will start bringing everything up. So literally, this can be very great path, but very painful at the same time. So it's not going to be the easy process. It can be very traumatic, and if you don't understand what is happening to you, it's even worse. And most of the people, when they're going through that stage of awakening, they don't understand. They start searching, they start looking to understand what is going on. However, some of them, they never associate this with that event. And this is very confusing. This is a very confusing time in your life. And you will experience so many things on a deep level. So how this purification and cleansing process works, every time is getting more stronger and stronger, because with the healing, with the purification, with the cleansing, we treating this and taking this as an onion. We're peeling layer after layer after layer. And from my own experience, when I've experienced this awakening, I actually didn't understand what is happening, but then I was searching, finding, and going through all that process, like motivational speaking, books, spiritual gurus, and all of it, to understand. But every time when I healed and I went through certain patterns, certain emotions, certain belief system, I thought this is it, and that's it, and it's done. Every time my consciousness was expanding, my knowledge was growing, my inner wisdom was getting bigger and bigger. But every time I thought this is it, and that's it. I'm done. I'm healed and everything is okay. However, certain circumstances in my life were showing me that no, it's not yet. It's not done yet. You need to go back to the certain places. You need to go back to the past, and you still need to heal. But you need to heal it on a deeper level. Then I was always pondering, wondering how deep I can go. Because every time when I went, I thought this is it. And this was like a vicious circle. But that's how it is with the healing, because not everyone can be get straight to the core, to the root, because it might be too much. Therefore, when we're healing, we actually healing the layers and the things that there are right for them at that certain time and moment. We can't get straight to there, because that would be too much and too traumatic, too stressful, and too much to hold. All depends on the person history and past and things that happen. However, every time when you actually heal, and when you awaken and you're going through the stages, every time you become even more stronger and stronger, and you gain in deeper and deeper wisdom. If you of course healing it and then you following it, because some people can of course avoiding it. And by avoiding it, we actually what we doing, smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol and overeating or abusing ourselves in other different ways, by trying to avoid this process, but trying to avoid this uncomfortable feelings, emotions we need to go through, process, the things that we need to go back to heal, to be able to change our life. And I'm talking here from experience as well, because I've changed so much since my first awakening, and because at that time I wasn't aware of what is happening, it was harder. But I also abused myself in some ways in the past, because I smoked cigarettes for most of my life, and I was overusing alcohol in my 20s, and doing all lots of crazy stuff to avoid the pain I was holding in my heart, in my soul, and my soul was actually screaming. Therefore, one day, everything blown up, and that's where the awakening started. That was through some traumatic event, because my soul said, no, that's it, it's enough. I need to put you in line. But I'm not going too much into it in my own spiritual awakening. I want to concentrate more on the Kundalini. However, I wanted to explain and show you that I went through this as well, and I was doing so much crazy stuff before, and now I'm absolutely cigarettes free, alcohol free, meat free, and I'm more happier and I'm more healthier. Going back to the Kundalini. So actually, this is the process of emotional reckoning. So your mind starting to circulate with thoughts. So that's where the obsessive thinking might start. You see that you constantly being in your mind, because when your energy is raised, is going up, you start feeling ungrounded. Your mind is all the time going all around and around past events and past experiences, and this is where the things that were very deep buried in your subconscious mind, they start popping up in your head, and you don't even know why are you thinking about this, or all of a sudden you've realized something, or you've reminded yourself something that's happened in the past, but that was very traumatic event that actually caused you so much stress, so much pain that you locked. And then you, through life, you've learned how to protect it. So you developed some mechanism that prevent you to go into it, to that thing, to that feeling, to the situation, to heal it. So that's where, when you're awakening, when your Kundalini is awakening and your chakras start being cleansed, of course, all depends on the chakras, because each chakra is responsible for different feelings and different beliefs and things and traumas. Then you start feeling sad. You've got the feelings that you were never happy in life, that you don't understand, and then you start being very sad that you actually had to go through all these things that happened in your past experiences, in your past. You also unpacking years of pent-up energy blockages that prevented you from being present. Present in this life means that you spend a lot of time thinking about the past and what happened, and then you're trying to wish that those things were different, and you start regretting, and but this is the time when you can actually come to the peace with it, and you can start releasing it. You can also feel some physical symptoms, so your physical body. You can have some random sleeping hours. I remember through my dark night of the soul and a very hard cleansing process that I couldn't sleep at night. I slept maybe 3 hours. I was freaking out because I was worrying that I get not enough sleep and that's gonna send me crazy. So my sleep pattern changed, and I also had so many nightmares. And another things that were happening during that time, as far as I remember, that was like sweating at night. I was sweating at night, and I had like literally I was so scared. I was waking up like screaming and feeling that something is attacking me, something is happening to me. And I also felt like very intense energy going through my spine. So it's like up and down, up and down. Another thing what might happen is that you actually feeling that you need to do radical changes in your life. So that something needs to change. You don't know what yet, but you feel like you need to change. You need to change certain things in your life. And this can be like due to a change in your diet, changing your job, changing your relationship, changing your environment, cut some people from your life, change your friendship, your circle, your community, relocate, and because you start realizing that these things does not serve you anymore. These things don't serve you anymore, and there is a time for change. I remember when I did my first Reiki course, that was actually a few years after my first awakening, because I was looking for for the way to heal myself and to have the skills to help myself. And that was the time when I actually started changing the major things in my life. This is where I actually stopped drinking alcohol at all. I mean, at all, in terms of like for the first 6 or 7 months, I didn't even touch the alcohol. Then I had sometimes randomly like one a bigger, and that's it. But now I don't drink it again because my body doesn't like the slow vibrations anymore. Then my diet changed. So when I did my first Reiki course, I actually stopped eating meat, and I was so drawn to plant-based food and fruit and all the juices and all that kind of food. So that's where the healing and purifying process kicked in, because that's how the Reiki energy helped me. And then I was, of course, progressing to 2nd and 3rd level, and now I'm a Reiki master and teacher. And now I can see how this still works in my life, and how this actually detoxing me even further and deeper from my soul now. So now is I'm kind of healing the last puzzles, and doing my heart and my soul detox. However, another sign of awakening and Kundalini awakening can be that your mind become more conscious. You can see what was holding you back, what was taking your happiness, and you start realizing that your ego is keeping you in the trap, and is actually preparing you for the worst. So ego doesn't work in your favor. So then you can start searching and looking and trying to understand what is subconscious mind, what is conscious mind, what is ego, and all that spiritual world and things. And another thing is like some synchronicities can happen in your life, so like never before. So you might start seeing it. You start understanding that there is no random things that happen in your life, that everything is happening for the reason, in the right time, in the divine timing, not our timing, divine timing. And the things, they have their own way of working. So and everything what is happening at that time is actually right for you at that time. Again, you can start being more sensitive and be more empathetic like never before. You can start feeling what other people are experiencing, and that's what's happened to me. I mean, I apparently I was empath for the whole my life, but I didn't understand that, because always I thought I'm the strong, the hard one, the strong one, and I have no sensitivity in me. However, through all this process, I've kind of discovered how sensitive I am and how well I've protected that. So now I'm able to sense everything, and very easily to know, to see people's behaviors, and I can even tune into their thoughts. That's how sensitive I am now. And emotions and feelings, which I'm not saying is always healthy and great, and there needs to be a discipline with it, because that might send you a bit crazy if you do it with a lot of people around you, if you're picking up too many energies. And yeah, but that's what might happen as well. So you might start being more sensitive, and this might be very overwhelming. It can be, especially when you forget to ground yourself, and this might be a sign that your third eye, So your third eye is opening, and you're actually becoming more tuned with yourself and with the nature. So you start seeing through the illusion, and you start having a different perception. You can start having the strong urge to go outside, to spend time with nature, to connect with nature, to connect with animals. You feel the strong need of declutter your life from low vibrations, from people who are very toxic and negative, and the place you live, and basically declutter your whole environment. Like I mentioned before, you want to change the job because all of a sudden you've realized that this job is not for you. And that's what was happening with my journey as well. Kept changing the jobs, people, environments, and everything what was actually holding and kept me back. You might start going very much into spirituality, so you might start actually looking for things to understand, like you might be prone to crystals, you might be prone to tarot cards, you might be prone to explore and understand more spiritual books, mantras, and sound healings, things that are natural and that's been existing for years. You start identifying the root need of your own needs, and you might start having like a random emotions, and you start having you might start having like some emotions that surfacing that you never really dealt before. So all of a sudden you might go through very deep emotional purification, and you might, all of this, for example, for all your life you've suppressed anger, and all of a sudden you become very, very angry. You've been like, for the whole week you just can't stop. You're screaming, you're shouting, you're kicking in the air, and you are very angry, and you don't understand what is happening to you, because you say, oh, I never was angry, I'm not an angry person. You're not, but you are, because you've suppressed that. So this is when everything happened, and this is with the Kundalini awakening, but this might happen also through like a Reiki therapy or crystal therapy. When I've experienced this a lot myself, plus with my clients, that all of a sudden they during the session they start crying or they start laughing, and they laugh for the whole session, and because they never tried it before, they never experienced this before, they're very surprised, and then after the session they're like, what's happened to me? What was that? I don't understand. This is how they releasing it, what they hold on. So what they, sometimes even if you've got limited beliefs about yourself, you might start laughing. Like I remember when I had some emotional release, and I was actually, I don't know what was that beliefs. However, when I started to release these beliefs, I started laughing, and then I started crying. So that's how my body, my mind, my heart, my soul was releasing it. So that's the normal thing, because we can only release through our physical body. Then you start understanding you start understanding your things from childhood, your patterns. You start understanding that you didn't get certain things from your parents, that what you've been given, what you were not being given, and what you deserve to get it, and you didn't have it, and then this anger appears, and after anger, acceptance come, and you might also realize that previously the life never happened to you really. It was only reflection. This was only a reflection of you, but you never really lived the life. You start feeling mystical, but this is, when you're growing, awakening more and more. You start having intimate connection, but with the divine. So you're actually opening up to universe, you opening up yourself to that energy. You might start to travel between dimensions. So you might see that you might live between two worlds. You know that you live in a 3D world when everything is about ego and survival and materialistic world, and then you can jump to another dimension where everything is just pure love, bliss, happiness, and everything is just perfect and beautiful. So then you might just recognize in these two parts, and you also might start seeing what is really going on in life around in the world. You just drop your blindfolds, and all of a sudden you see all this craziness around you, where previously you didn't know because you were still asleep, and now you're awakening. So everything changes, your energy change, your things in your body. So literally your DNA is changing, your brain is changing, because you start healing, you start awakening, you healing. So therefore, if you our brain start how to say that, is you're rewriting and rechanging everything, because if you've been brought up in a very traumatic environment with a lot of abuses, your brain works different to the brain a person who never experienced that kind of things in life. Therefore, for example, that person might be more positive than you are, and you might always think of all negative things, and you might always expect the worst in your life, only because you've been brought up in that environment. So you might not understand why this person is the way it is, but that's at the beginning and stage of awakening, when you're actually healing and understanding and processing everything. And then I think that the last thing, not the last, but another thing that is that you realize that you actually cannot wait for another moment to start living, because your life is happening now, right now. It's not there in the past, and it's not in the future. It's right now, and this is how you learn, being in a present moment and enjoying that present moment. And you start understanding that you've really, really denied yourself the joy, because you always waited for it to begin, but you never could, because you always been drained by the past. So I think that's the major thing that maybe allow you to more or less understand what is going on when you're awaken, when you're Kundalini awakening, and you start going through the process of healing, and then so many things like just blown up. Because when it happened to me, I didn't know, and I didn't have anyone around to actually ask what has happened to me at that time. Now, with growing higher and higher and evolving in my own spiritual growth, and with going through the stages of personal awakening. Now I've got people around who I can actually ask, and then if I'm not sure if that's part of my healing, then I can ask. But at that time when it happened first time, and that was many years ago, I didn't have anyone to ask, so I had to do research myself and actually go through that process, find a way to heal myself. And this is why I've done so many different courses. You can see some diplomas behind. This is why it all comes from my own life experience and understanding. So I hope you enjoy that. I will keep you informed on that channel. I keep posting things mainly in regards to spirituality, emotions and minds. I will put more information in regards of the physical body as well, because mainly I'm concentrating on more spiritual aspects. However, in my previous video I mentioned about chakras and organs and emotions, how they work together and how one affects another. So yes, thank you very much. I'm so happy that I can talk to you. It's amazing to share my life, my journey with you. I hope it is helping you in some way to understand what is going on in your life in the right moment. If you have any questions, if you're not sure about something, I'm more than happy to answer, to give you a guidance. So you can always leave the comment. You can always email me. Feel free to find me on my fan page and follow my fan page on Facebook, where I also put some information. I will leave all the details. I've got my own website. Where you can go and see what therapies I do. Of course, the website needs to be a little bit more updated, because there are some glitches on that page. However, you might have some idea what I can help you with. So thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. All the best. Love you loads.